Where there is a high concentration of activities within a location, we tend to see a higher number of transport nodes. Some areas in Singapore sees a higher number of nodes, and most of these nodes are interchanges. Do you know where are they in Singapore? Some examples are places like Raffles Place, City Hall, and the Bayfront MRT station. These are the major nodes that provide people with access to commercial services and employment opportunities, and they are all mainly located in the central area. Different transport nodes has different level of accessibility. Using this example of the rail network system in Singapore, we can see that the Dhoby Ghaut station is more accessible than the Boon Keng station. People can reach the Dhoby Ghaut station by 3 different lines, and they are the Circle Line, the Downtown Line, and the North-East Line. Passengers at Dhoby Ghaut Line can also reach all the other stations along these 3 lines without having to change at any other stations. This makes Dhoby Ghaut Station a very accessible station to the other stations. The Boon Keng Station, however, can only be reached via the North-East Line. And along the North-East Line, there are much more limited stations that passengers from Boon Keng Station can travel to. So if a passenger is traveling from the other line, for example, the East-West line, this passenger will have to find their way to the North-East line before they can reach Boon Keng MRT station. Thus, we say that the accessibility to Boon Keng MRT station is less accessible than Dhoby Ghaut station. Different transport nodes has different. In this rail network system map, you can see that I have highlighted some of these train stations in red and some of these train stations in green. Those that are in red are served by 3 MRT lines, which means that they are more accessible than the train stations that are served by just 2 MRT lines. Of course, either they are red or green, they are much more accessible than those train stations that are only found along one train line. Take some time to look at this station systems map and then find out where your nearest MRT station is from home and compare it to the accessibility from other stations that are circled in red. After learning about how concentration of activities and level of accessibility affects where transport nodes are located within a city, we shall now find out why are transport systems located in cities. You may pause this video to have a look at figure 10.11 more closely. From the legend, you will notice that the darker the shaded area in darker brown, the more jobs there are available in that area that is within 30 minutes by public transport. And the lighter the shaded area is in yellow, the least the number of jobs that are found within 30 minutes. Let this sink in for a while. What does this understanding mean? What can you say about the density of transport network in the areas that are darker shaded, as compared to the density of transportation that is in areas that are lighter shaded in yellow? The movement of people is definitely not the only reason for transportation. In this slide, we find out a little bit more about movement of goods and services. In photograph A, we can see the postal service worker posting a mail, helping to post a mail outside a residential unit, and she's using a bicycle. This is also part of the transport services actually that is required just to deliver the mail to us. Okay, in photograph 2, we can see that the service is the delivery of food. Okay, and the delivery person is actually using a motorbike. So we can see a variety of transport modes being depicted in this series of picture. And picture C, photograph C, actually shows the relocation services, meaning to say that when you know, like there is a relocation of an office or a relocation of a residential apartment, okay, that there will be movement, okay, that will be required of things like the furnitures or the movement of other items and properties that may belong to the owners who are affected by the relocation. And in the last picture, you can see that this is a delivery of fuel, like petrol, okay, which is done by a tanker truck, okay, and the delivery is actually done and transported to the petrol kiosk. All right, so we can see with this slide that the movement of goods and services also are reasons for transportation. You may pause this video to look more closely at figure 10.14, which is a map showing Singapore's sources of key food supplies. Because Singapore relies so much on other countries to provide and supply our key food items, transportation network is of really great importance to us, without which the goods and the services that we need in Singapore may not be easily transported to us. Can you still remember what happened when several countries went into a lockdown at the start of COVID-19 global pandemic in March 2020? During that period of time, despite the lockdown, Singapore was still able to secure a stable supply of safe food as she continued importing food from sources as far as Brazil and the Netherlands. Without an efficient transport network internationally, we may be deprived of safe food sources. Today, Singapore imports more than 90% of our food from 170 countries and regions. By diversifying our sources of food supply, that actually help us to not just ensure that we have sources of food, we are also ensured that the food supply to us is at an affordable price. And it also ensures national sovereignty in such a way that our people are actually able to be self-sufficient, okay, because we are actually provided with food by different sources of from different countries as for our sources of food. And it also ensures quality of life of the citizens at all times. Okay, so the reason for transportation should not be undermined, as you know, very basic things like food supply is heavily dependent on the quality of the transportation infrastructure, as well as the connectivity of the transport system that helps Singapore to reach out to the goods and the services that we need from all over the world. Okay, so before I end the lesson, I would like to just show you two video clips in the next two slides. So you may like to actually pay attention to what the development of the transportation situation will be like in Singapore.
In Singapore, the community has travel needs. We have over the years know that we cannot continue to build roads, and it is the convenience and the seamless public transport that we want to bring to everybody.
In 2040, we envisage to transform Singapore into 20-minute towns and a 45-minute city. So 9 in 10 journeys during peak hours. It will be completed within 45 minutes.
The Land Transport Authority, we are a very engineering-based organisation. We build the train lines, we provide bus services, we build the walkways, the roads. But however, there is a big part of us that actually wants to go out and reach out to the community.
Singaporeans have significantly increased their active mobility activities, and so we wanted to address this need.
And in terms of the community, we also want to go in and redesign towns, for example, such that we can actually facilitate healthy lifestyles through walk, cycle, ride schemes.
We will also expand the cycling network. We advocate transport that is public, shared, and active. Having more Singaporeans participate in active travel, such as walking and cycling, we can reduce the carbon footprint, whereby we can enjoy open, livable spaces.
To achieve better environment, by 2040, Singapore intends to go for a 100% cleaner energy public bus fleet. We will also work with the private sector in terms of introducing greater electrification of shared fleet vehicles, such as taxis and private hire cars.
I am personally excited about autonomous vehicles and what it can offer. Autonomous vehicles will improve the value proposition for public transport. It will potentially make it safer and quicker and more reliable. We are already doing ongoing trials right at the moment to facilitate this.
What we can do is to actually integrate all these land transport facilities into the land use around the MRT stations. In doing so, we have been doing quite a lot of underground integration. So when you get out of the station, there is no weather conditions concerns. You get to the development directly. For some people, where they live and where they work, they will not be under the sun or rain at all.
So a transport system does not only need to be convenient, connected and fast, but it also needs to be inclusive. It needs to include young families with children, people with disability. We also develop many silver zones that are specially tailor-made for seniors.
It's more safer for residents, especially seniors, to cross the road. The paths are wider and flat for us to walk easily.
The senior citizens concession card gives me more green time and makes it safer for me to cross the road at the junction.
We put our heart and soul into building a public transport system that is reliable and people actually go on it. And this is what will make the future a success.